They say every day for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. That is, of course, the nature of the video I will allow you watch shortly. And of course, from what I just saying, they say it takes two to tango. That's exactly the situation of this driver that was caught, who is in the business of delivering gun to Fulani herders. And from what the man explained, that each time he did a successful delivery, he is paid 250,000 naira. You can imagine what the damage this will cause in the southern part of the country, particularly with respect to security of lives and property of Southerners. But again, I think I must say kudos to those security agencies who did this job. All the area they would have synergized with the locals to get at this. I think this is a welcome development because the best approach to fighting crime and criminality is to nip it in the bud. But once you nip it in the bud, it will not happen. Because if those guns, as you can clearly see in the course of watching that video, were to be in the hands of those Fulani Herdsmen, only God would have imagined the damage it would have done in terms of wastage of lives and property. But again, we can only say thank God for this discovery. Before I go further into this conversation, it's good to allow you to watch this video for you to have a sense of what we are talking about. But I want to encourage you as you watch, let me get your thoughts, what you are saying about this particular video. What has to come back to further this conversation?
As a result of this damage, we've realized that the bonnet can no longer take the number of weapons that it usually will take. However, Baba will just do a quick demo for you and then we'll return back to base. Baba, enter your motor, open your door, open your bonnet and come and put the gun. What do they call gun for Hausa? You put bindiga in a bonnet. Chicken bonnet. Leave him. Yo, yeah.
I'm going to see this today. You have 3 years.
That's a bit. Leave him. Look your back. Because of what? Because of touch it, tell them.
Because of this accident.
Okay. There is a weapon already. There is a weapon already neatly concealed here. Baba just told us that because of this push dent in, that it might not take further weapons. But Baba, how many guns, how many bindiga did they enter here? Eh? I mean, talking for English. 4. So you carry 4 guns. Where you don't carry gun go before? somebody should be in tap
yawa ga mana ina da ina ka
stay like this so that the cameras
na dauko daga isalu zuwa ikon soje sannan na sake dauko a harwaya na dauko daga isalu zuwa ikon amma mutanen da nake dauko Fulani daji idan na dauko musu mun je a hanya inda suke ajewa sun dauko na dauko na kawo musu a hanyar daji na sauke musu sun dauki bayan
Baba said he has conveyed these weapons severally along Ifon, his Sonlu axis, and that the people he conveys the weapons for are mostly nomadic Fulanis. That his role is simply to take the arms from one point to the other where they need it, that they will come out from the bush, take delivery of the weapons and continue with whatever purpose they want to use them for.
Ask him how much do they pay for it.
na dauka guda biyu haka suna biya na 250,000.
They pay him 250,000 naira for every delivery.
Thank you.
Having watched the video, just like I said, it takes two to tango, and they say every day for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. Because this man have been in this business, going and doing the successful business, and each time he go for this business, according to him, he received a handsome amount of 250,000 naira, meaning he smiles to the bank, but the law have catch up with him. And I want to say that let us equally pray that every other person involved with similar activity, similar action, similar crime will be apprehended. Because the more we, or rather the security agencies apprehend them, take them out of circulation, the more safer the society becomes. I continue saying that the business of security is not just for the police, the army, the DSS, the Navy, name it. It's not just for them alone. It calls for a symbiotic relationship, a synergy between the communities and the security agencies. Because come to think of it, even the intelligence that is needed to address most of all these things rests with the communities. Because it has been established that all crime is local. So if all crime is local, you're going to show that the intelligence that is needed to address it rests with the local. I think that's even best explain the reason we are seeing so much success recorded by locals in different areas, like the one we saw in Delta State of Washington, to be precise, the one we saw in Abraka, the one we saw in, of course, Kwara State. We saw another one in Bauchi. We probably saw another one in Katsina. But again, I think at this point, we need to rejig the security architecture. Who they think federal government is already taking that direction? Not just thinking anyway. We are already seeing action being taken, sequel to forest guard. And we have seen that Enugu State already keyed into this by rolling out their personnel, recruiting personnel. And we understand that they have been placed on 80,000 as minimum as their salary, though that is grossly inadequate. But I think it is a good start. They can always improve on it. And that is why I want to encourage other states, particularly states like Katsina, states like Plateau, Benue, Kaduna, Taraba, should jump at this opportunity of forest guard. Because the federal government have made it very clear, this is not just the federal government speaking, even the president himself have made it very clear that they are going to strengthen those forest guards, which means they will build capacity to be able to combat those level of crime. So it's now going to show that all the effort of the likes of Shegumi, who have been trying to discourage federal government from using characteristic approach to address insecurity, to fight bandits, he's now going to be demoralized. I'm particularly happy because I can clearly see federal government currently coming out with both moves to fight this insurgency this insecurity, this banditry, particularly the order for about 50 fighter jets, which we are expecting and which will arrive in the country anytime soon. For me, it's going to be a game changer because it's going to boost the capacity of our air force to bombard and take out bandits. Because we cannot help but do the right thing. And the right thing is to ensure that as a government, the government possesses monopoly of coercive power to deal with all the recalcitrant behaviors, characters, to take them out. That is why I'm particularly happy when we saw the arrest of the two Asadu terrorist leaders. Good thing, one of them have been convicted on the basis of illegal mining and possession of arms illegally. We are still waiting for the bigger part of it, which is terrorism. We understand that that case is still pending in court. We want to believe that at the nick of time, court will do justice to that, so that it will not act a deterrent to others. I continue saying it. The essence of it cannot be overemphasized, that we need to build capacity. We need to possess monopoly of coercive power as a government. That is what makes the government ultimate. I cannot forget in a hurry the expertise with which American government came to Nigeria sometime 5 years ago, when they came to rescue a 27-year-old Philip Wanton who was kidnapped in Niger, taken to Sokoto State here in Nigeria. American Navy SEALs came here and rescued him alive. That is competence, that is capacity. And we understand even in the time of Donald Trump during his first administration, when American government needed to take out a Soleimani, a military diplomat from Iran, they did that in Iraq, and it was a successful operation. That's what we call competence. I want to believe that as a country, we should be thinking in that direction. I'm not saying we should have gotten up to that level, but if not for anything, let us start from getting monopoly of coercive power to police every inch of Nigerian territorial integrity, to at least smoke the bandits out of their hiding places, set them running and bring them to justice. That is the best we can do, because the way it is, there's no gain saying that the bandits are getting stronger, because I was seriously disappointed when I saw the news the other time that the likes of Adaleru had a meeting with Zamfara State Governor and Katsina State Governor. Because you begin to imagine, these are people who the military would normally call rat tax. Sitting and having meeting with executive governors, for me, is an affront. A very big one for that matter. The best the government could do is to build capacity, smoke them out of the hiding places, set them running, arrest them, and bring them to justice. Just as you can clearly see the arrest of the two Asadu terrorist leaders. That is why I condemn in strongest possible term the insinuation of Sheikh Gumi, who the other time said that we have Mossad agents in Nigeria and that they may be targeting Muslim leaders. And I continue to maintain that if for any reason we have Mossad agents in Nigeria, and that is perhaps the reason we are seeing success in terms of intelligence, that's why arresting bandit leaders, I want to say it's a welcome development, even as I do not have such intelligence. So if that is perhaps the reason, it's a welcome development and they should do more. I understand that under the administration of Jonathan, as of course when the election was postponed in 2015 to give his government an opportunity to push back Boko Haram, it was a former House of Assembly member from Borno State who came out recently to make it clear that a Jonathan government was already doing excellently well in terms of decimating Boko Haram through machineries he brought from outside the country. And of course, as we have it, the North demarcated him, called him Omar of names, and at the end of the day, they ushered him from office. Ebuadi was ushered in. But the question is, when Ebuadi came in, Ebuadi jettisoned all the idea of fighting the insurgency through that machineries, send them packing. And as we have it today, we are back to the problem that would have been solved more than 5, 6, 7 years ago. Because as we speak currently, the man made it very clear that those machineries were leveraging on technology, and that they were achieving results. But according to him, they were monitoring the movement and location of Boko Haram, of ISWAP, through their laptops. And once they are satisfied about the location they want to go and do precision bombing, according to him, they go with just about 20 persons. And according to him, they come back with evidence of the site or rather the location before and after bombing. But unfortunately, the Wali government jettisoned the idea, and today we are back to the same problem. That's why I strongly maintained. That if, for instance, or perhaps we have Mossad agents in Nigeria, and that is why we are recording success in intelligence in terms of arresting these bandit leaders, I want to encourage Mr. President, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, to continue in that trajectory, because it means it's a yielding result. It means it's a welcome development. I equally want to encourage the president to ignore the likes of Sheikh Gumi and his advice and push ahead to root out bandits, Boko Haram terrorists out of every inch of Nigerian territorial integrity. Because the buck rests with Mr. President. The blame will always go to him if his government fail to address the insecurity. Because the president goes by the name of the president and the commander of the armed forces. So it goes to show that the success and failure of the government in terms of ability to combat crime and criminality, terrorism, rests with him, and he will take the blame of success or applaud, as the case may be. Because even the constitution is very clear that the welfare of the people and their security shall be the primary purpose of governance. So it then goes to show that any government that is failing in that cardinal area in Nigeria, it is a monumental failure. I want to believe that the president, hence he has taken up the challenge to think out of the box. Because all along, our problem have been inability of the leaders to think out of the box. Because if you continue doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result, I must say it's a mirage. But currently, we are seeing that the president wants to think out of the box, and he's definitely thinking out of the box, because we can clearly see community-driven security approach. Talking about the forest guard that has already gotten energy from federal government. I think what is lacking currently is the both steps we need from state governors to key into it. Because the earlier they do that, the better. I must say that life is sacrosanct, and everything the governors can do within their powers to protect us and property, they must do. Because before now, I have been an advocate that the governors should not just go by the name of governors and chief security officers of their respective states just on paper, that in practical terms, they should be allowed to parade some level of security power. And I think that is what the forest guard has gone to usher. And I want to believe that they will embrace it, and let us see how we'll take it off from there. But anyway, let me say very big thank you for time. This is Mr.